Hi and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today on our webinar on empowering guests with digital interactive maps. Before we get started, I'd just like to take a second to do a little housekeeping. If you could all just look at your screens for a moment. If you have any questions during the webinar, then you can write them down at any time by going to the right-hand side of your screen at the bottom. You just write the questions there. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll open a live Q&A session and then I'll answer as many questions as possible. Okay, so I'd like to kick off today's webinar by introducing myself. My name is Mark Watkins. I'm a Customer Success Manager at Spotlio. Unfortunately, Albert wasn't able to make it today, so I'll be taking the webinar. I'd like to start also by taking a quick look at Spotlio as a company and the services and solutions we provide to mountain destinations. Then we dive straight into the topic, which looks at how you can help your guests feel more empowered by providing interactive digital maps of your resort. As you discover later, these are really much more than digital versions of your printed paper maps. They're effective tools that can make your whole destination much more accessible to your guests and allows them to interact with their mobile devices. But before I get into that, let's take a quick look at who Spotlio is. Spotlio is a leading provider of digital platforms for mountain resorts with headquarters in St. Moritz. We also provide mobile apps and solutions for cities and event organizations, amongst other things. We were founded back in 2012, and today we operate mainly out of Barcelona. We have more than 80 customer projects in 9 different countries, from Australia to Austria, with most of our partners located in North America. Each of these projects are fully customized to the individual needs of our partners, with the aim of making their brand shine and to grow their sales. Last year, we had more than 1 million monthly active users, and we helped our partners generate more than $150 million of revenue through our platforms. And every year, we continue to grow in this number. We work with some of the biggest names in mountain tourism, like Steamboat, Whistler Blackcomb, Aspen Snowmass, St. Moritz in Europe, Ski Big 3, and also Copper Mountain. So what are the founding principles of Spotlio? Since the beginning, Spotlio has been looking for ways to help our partners be more present along the whole 360-degree e-tourism customer journey. We're always looking to develop new solutions and features that help you guys connect with your potential audience so that you can influence their purchase decisions and improve the customer experience. Obviously, the ultimate goal of all our products and all our solutions are to help you guys sell more and to grow your brands. But really at the heart of everything we do is this customer experience, the customer journey. We really focus and we look at how each of our solution touches the different stages, whether it's inspiration, planning, or the experience phase. So that really is at the heart of Spotlio. So how do we actually do that? To date, we have 4 main solutions. We have our famous direct booking platform, a central communication platform, our mobile destination apps, and our interactive digital maps. All of these digital products have been developed with the aim of getting you closer to your customers at each stage along that customer journey. Our famous direct booking was developed back in 2014 after working in conjunction with some of you guys. Since then, we've continued to make improvements. We add new features. We look for friction points to reduce, and we make changes to optimize the conversion rates. The improvement of this funneling, it's paramount for us, and we want to obviously make sure that it's as effective as possible. But because many resorts start to fight back and starting to win more direct customers as they put more emphasis on improving their online booking experience. We all know the dominance that OTAs enjoy today, acting as an intermediate between you and your customers. But as you put more emphasis on improving the online booking experience, you're able to turn the tide against the OTAs, and you're able to win back more of your customers. But the performance of your direct booking is so important in this fight because you have to at least be as good as the OTAs in order to win back those direct customers and build that direct bond. With our platform, you can be confident that we're always adapting and improving the direct booking experience to reflect changes in customer behavior and booking habits. Secondly is the newcomer to our product range, the customer communication platform. This began as a customer requested project. We were asked by a couple of you guys and with your operational teams, to develop a solution where all the relevant operational data could be entered and then was capable of taking that data and updating all of the digital communication channels across the whole resort. I mean, these include maps, apps, websites, and even digital signage, and even some offline channels. All of these channels get automatically updated with the relevant operational data. We developed this platform successfully, and it's now a mature, powerful solution that saves man hours and keeps your guests better informed. If you're interested in this product, next month we'll be doing a webinar that's dedicated just to the CP, our central communication platform, which looks at this topic. So again, hopefully sign up for that webinar and you'll find out more about that topic. Thirdly, we have our mobile destination apps. These apps turn your customers' mobile phones into Swiss knives, capable of doing all kinds of crazy things. Guests can use them to book lessons, check which slopes are groomed, which lifts are open, and what the weather's like. They can even use them to track their ski runs and compare their performances with other guests on the digital leaderboard. But they're not only a great way to improve the customer experience, they're also a powerful tool in the fight to keep your guests safe and build their confidence in the face of the current pandemic. If you want to know more about this, take a look at our website entitled, entitled Ensuring Customer Safety in a Pandemic World Through Mobile Destination Apps. This can be found in the Spotlio website in the Academy section. We also put the webinars in with German and French subtitles. So if any of you are non-native speakers, then please feel free to make use of those. Finally, we've got our interactive maps. These are amazing, immersive digital versions of your resorts, and they come in extremely high definition. The resolution is staggering. In fact, our 3D versions are so detailed, you can see the individual moguls on your slopes. It's amazing. But as the title of today's webinar suggests, there's so much more than just maps. They can also be used to create a digital version of your resort that empowers your guests and allows them to interact with your destination directly from their mobile phones. It's key to improving the customer experience because this ability to interact and to be able to access your resort from the mobile phone is something that customers now are expecting. So how exactly do these digital maps have such a positive impact on the guest experience? This comes down to customer habits and the way the digital world enhances the physical world, making it more accessible and more interactive. This can be seen not only in tourism, but in all areas of society. People have embraced the digital world. They expect to be able to interact with the physical world around them via their mobile phones. Take a simple example of a family dining out in a new town. The night begins by looking for nearby restaurants on Google Maps and then comparing possible options based on reviews in TripAdvisor or Yelp. They may even book a table via a mobile app, and once in the restaurant, scan a QR code to view the menu. Then, at the end of the night, they might finish by paying with a virtual wallet. This convergence between the digital and the physical has become our norm. We love the simplicity that it offers and the convenience the digital world brings to the physical world. So let's look now specifically at mountain destinations. How does this apply to your resorts? When it comes to creating digital versions of your destinations, there's a lot of different technology out there that can be leveraged. But maps, and specifically 3D maps, are perfectly positioned to play a critical role, as they give users an immediate sense of where they are, what the resort has to offer, and how they can access it. They have a huge impact on the customer experience, from the planning and inspiration phase right through to the sharing phase. To help illustrate this, we're going to follow the experiences of two families, the Joneses and the Smiths. It's a very simplified comparison, but I think it really brings home some of the scenarios that people encounter at different resorts. So both families book a week-long vacation at two different mountain destinations. Both resorts are as good as each other, and both holidays cost the same amount. The Joneses are staying at a resort that only offers a traditional fold-in paper map, whilst the Smiths, on the other hand, are staying at a mountain destination that has embraced the digitalization. They've developed an effective digital strategy that really enhances their physical resort, and they offer Spotlio-generated digital maps. So both families arrive at their respective destinations, and job one, find appropriate parking. The Joneses follow the physical signage placed around the resort, and they try to work out which parking lot is closest to their accommodation. Once they finally arrive at their chosen parking lot, their hearts sink as they find the lot is full. Finally, after a 20-minute wait, they get their parking space. The Joneses have still not been able to pick up a folded map of the resort to help them navigate, so they're feeling still disorientated and a little unfamiliar with their surroundings. The Smiths, however, are off to a much better start. They were able to use the digital map to improve the customer experience during the planning and preparation phase of the customer journey. How? Let's take a look. Before they leave their home, they download the destination app. And as they approach their destination, they're able to locate the parking lot nearest to their accommodation on the digital 3D map. They were also able to check availability in real time and head straight to their preferred parking lot, confident in the knowledge that there would be a place for them to park. This real-time information is so important when it comes to the experience phase of the customer journey. The ability to know what's happening around them at any given time and what changes occur, because these affect the decisions that families make whilst they're in your resorts. After checking in, both families decide to hit the slopes. The Smiths and the Joneses both have young children, and so they're looking for a slope that's not too difficult and offers safe skiing for all. The Joneses were able to pick up a folded paper map at the check-in and are already busy trying to find which slope is the most suitable. They make their choice based on the location of the slope and the written information on the paper map, not really knowing how up-to-date that information is or what the current situations are. Once they arrive at their chosen slope, they find they have a queue for 25 minutes to get on the ski lift. They also discover that their chosen slope is not fully groomed, and there are far more skiers than they imagined, making it less than perfect for their young children. Nevertheless, they try to make the most and they finally begin skiing. The Smiths, on the other hand, are again quick out of the gate. They were already familiarizing themselves with the different slopes on the digital map and enjoying the live webcams while driving to the resorts. So again, this is improving the preparation and planning phases of their customer journey. They looked at the slope difficulty ratings on the various options and made their choice. Then, once they arrive, they check the live information on the maps to make sure their chosen slope is groomed and that there are no long queues in the ski lifts. Thanks to heat maps, they're also able to see which slopes are more congested, again, helping them to make the best decision for their families. The Smiths are already starting to feel familiar with the resorts and their surroundings and beginning to feel like resort insiders. After a day on the slopes, both families head back to their accommodation. For the Joneses, they talk about their day, but as a family, they can't compare their runs or the performance. They can't download any of their tracks. So they can talk, but they don't have any of the tools to help enhance this experience of sharing. The Smiths, however, thanks to GPS tracking, are able to view each other's tracks and relive their experiences. They can even compare their performances against each other on the digital leaderboard. Then, as the parents sit down to relax, the children head to their rooms to connect with their friends back home on social media. They download their tracks and send them via social media or emails to their friends, who are also able to share in their fun. Here, the experience of the Smiths during the sharing phase of the customer journey has been enhanced, as they were able to live, relive, and share the highlights of their days with the family and friends around the world. And these digital improvements are far less costly than physical improvements, but they have a significant effect on the customer satisfaction. The following night, both families decide to eat out. The Joneses pull out what is now a slightly damaged folded map and try to locate the nearest restaurants. They find two pizzerias on the map, Giovanni's and Stefano's. And as Stefano's is only 2 minutes away, they decide to give it a try. They phone the number on the map to book a table, but it's Friday and the restaurant's busy, so they're not able to get through. But optimistically, they decide to take the chance and head to the restaurant anyway, in the hope that there will be a table available. When they arrive at Stefano's, there's a short queue, but in 10 minutes, they're given a table. However, they soon discover to their disappointment that there are no vegetarian options, and their youngest children is a vegetarian. So they try to find something suitable with the help of Stefano. Later on that night, after returning to the hotel, they start to talk to another family who stay at the resort. And they discover that actually Giovanni's had a special 2-for-1 deal that night that could have saved them a significant amount of money. If only they'd known. The Smiths began thinking about where to eat much earlier than the Joneses. As they strolled home from the skiing, they passed Can Pizzeria. And Mr. Jones receives a geo-located push notification in his mobile device, informing them that children can eat free when accompanied by 2 adults that night. So when they arrive back at their accommodation, they check the digital map, and as the Smiths also like pizzas, they quickly locate all the Italian restaurants in the resort. With the digital maps, you have lots of flexible filter options. So they were able to filter to look specifically for Italian restaurants. Then, after comparing the menu straight out of the map and flicking through the online reviews and photos, they decide to take up the offer at Can Pizzeria. They click on the table booking widget in the map and reserve a table near the window. When they arrive at the restaurant, they are shown directly to the table and are able to order their meals and enjoy a beautiful evening, whilst at the same time saving money. Armed with the right information, they were better prepared to be able to find the perfect place at the best price. Okay, so now we pass to the next scenario. The following day happens to be the birthday of both Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Smith. So their husbands decide to surprise their wives with a special activity. Mr. Jones decides to phone around and tries to find out what's happening in the destination that day. So he calls into reception. He talks to the receptionist, who's very kind and helps him with giving him some numbers and some printed flyers with information on different activities available in the resort and the local area. He then tries to locate those activities on the paper map, which is now difficult to read and slightly tattered. So he calls the various numbers and tries to find out more. Finally, he's able to get through to a few activities, and after talking with the owners, he makes his decision and he books the activity that he wishes. So he's able to do the activity, but it's not frictionless and it's quite tiresome. So now let's have a look at Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, from the comfort of his lounge chair, simply pulls out his mobile phone, opens his digital resort map, and filters to show the in-resort activities and events. He's then able to click on each activity and found out more information on availability, prices, and times. He makes his choice and is able to reserve and pay for the activity directly out of the map and directly from his lounge sofa. Job done. One happy customer. So again, this preparation and planning phase is significantly improved and enhanced as you connect the digital world with the physical world, making the job much easier. Now comes one of the most important activities from the viewpoint of the resort. Both families decide to sit down together at the end of the week and fill out their feedback forms. The Joneses have enjoyed their stay and also remember some of the pain points they encountered throughout the week. For example, the waiting queue at the parking, the non-vegetarian options at the pizzeria. So they have mixed feelings, although they've enjoyed the experience. The younger members of the family found the lack of digital interaction very frustrating. So they take their pencils and pen and fill in their feedback cards and start to score their experiences. Will they come back next year? If they've stayed at a resort that offered a well-designed and well-thought-out digital experience that enhanced the resort, they probably won't. The Smiths have all received a push notification asking them to fill out the digital feedback scorecards. So they all open their mobile devices and begin to fill in their individual scores. As well as the usual adrenaline fun that mountain resorts offer, they were able to familiarize themselves with the resorts quickly and without any stress. And this is key, again, to the first impression and to the experience that they have when they arrive at the resort. They were also able to access special offers and keep up to date with changing weather and slope conditions, as well as events and activities. This digital version of the resort enhanced their experience and made their stay all the more enjoyable. Now, I know these scenarios are a little cheesy and a simplified version of what really happens during a customer stay, but the scenarios are real and they do happen. And the solutions that digital maps offer are really powerful at removing customer pain points and making the resort much more accessible. So up until now, we've been focusing on how digital maps improve the customer experience. But the improvements don't stop there. There's also benefits for the resorts themselves. So we're going to say goodbye to the Smiths and the Jones for now and take a quick look at the resort themselves. The benefits of digital maps are not only felt by the guests, but also the destinations directly. Firstly, there's a lot of less waste. Printed maps tend to get lost, they get wet, they rip, and they go out of date. All of this means that they have to be replicated on a regular basis, and it creates a lot of waste, and it creates a lot of cost. By going digital, you reduce the demand for paper maps. So again, you reduce the waste, you reduce the cost, and you give your customers a better experience. They also make your resort greener and more cost efficient. More and more environmental sustainability issues are becoming important when customers are deciding where to vacate for their holidays. And so this can't be underestimated going forward. And I think every measure that resorts can take to show that they're looking after their environment is seen as a positive by their customers. Also, as digital maps are so flexible and easy to use, resorts experience a reduction in customer service calls, which again reduces costs. So, for example, instead of having to phone the receptionist to find out where the nearest rental store is, they can just resort to their map. It's very simple and it's very accessible. And this again reduces costs for the resorts and improves the customer experience. And what about upselling? Upselling is a huge thing. With push notifications, direct out of map booking and promotions, you're able to upsell far more of your activities, rentals, lessons, and experiences to your guests and customers. Last minute bookings are also much more accessible, and with the right incentive, more guests choose to stay an extra night or two. And don't forget the main benefit of the destination. You get loyal customers who recommend more and return more. I mean, this is what it's all about, going the extra mile to ensure that the digital customer experience is at least on par with the physical customer experience, because both of these aspects directly affect customer satisfaction and the customer experience. Okay, so that's the end of today's webinar. Now I'd like to open the floor to you guys. If you have any questions, let's have a look. I have my colleague here who's going to read out some questions.
Okay, so how long would it take from start to finish to get a map set up from a resort?
Okay, so a lot of these things depend on the complexity and the requirements of our partners, but we try to work on a 4 to 6 weeks basis. So on average, it's 4 to 6 weeks. But this can depend, for example, if the map image is something you want bespoke or it's something that we can download. Obviously, that can affect the delivery time. And also the data. If the data that the resort is offering is compatible and can be uploaded simply, then obviously it allows us to implement the map quicker. But if it needs to be entered manually, then this can obviously delay the process. But as a ballpark figure, we're looking at about 4 to 6 weeks.
How much does it cost to get a 3D map set up?
Okay, so when it comes to cost, again, it can depend a little bit on the complexity of the project. But I mean, Spotlio is a SaaS company, so we do a software as a service. So all our products have a one-off setup fee, and then we have a yearly subscription. And the average for our maps, we talk about $7,500 setup fee, and then a yearly subscription fee of, again, $7,500.
How do you keep the map updated?
Okay, so keeping maps updated, there's two aspects. The first aspect is the map platform. Obviously, we take care of that. As a SaaS company, it's in our interest to make sure our solutions are at the cutting edge of technology and also reflect the latest customer behaviors. So from the actual platform, that's something we take care of. When it comes to the actual information on, for example, the daily grooming report or things like the weather conditions, that's something that you resorts do via the map management console, which is very easy to use. And again, it's a very powerful tool that will help you reduce your man hours and make sure your guests are always well informed with the latest information.
How heavy are the maps to load? Isn't a 3D map heavier than a 2D?
I mean, in general, 3Ds tend to be heavier than a 2D, but we've worked very hard to make sure our 3Ds are as light as possible. And now they're comparable with most 2D maps. On average, you're looking at about 15 meg for a 3D map, which is extremely light. So it's not really an issue anymore these days.
Can we offer this app in our existing app, or does it come on a separate app?
You can offer it. If you have an app, we can offer it on an app that you have. And also we can, obviously it works best with the Spotlio apps, but it can also work with a variety of app providers.
And what do we have to deliver so that our map can be produced?
I mean, this obviously needs a little bit more investigation because it depends on the resort and what information you want to have on your map. But basically that would be something, it's a little bit difficult to answer here, one answer for all resorts. But there are minimum requirements. Obviously, we'd need to have some like a map of your resort, and then you'd have to provide the points of interest and things like this and the information. But that's something really that it's done as one of the steps of our project management. So it's quite difficult to answer that. But if you want to find out more about this, contact us direct, and we have a technical team who will take you through exactly. We have a very structured project management procedure, which will take you through that, and you can understand exactly what you need to provide.
And then we get one last one about the Spotlio team. How many people work at Spotlio?
Okay, so 6 o'clock at the moment, so not many here at the moment, but on a normal day, we have around 20 full-time equivalent staff, as well as we work with a number of partners who are based in Austria and the US and around the world. But we have 20 equivalent full-time members of staff. Okay, so that's all the questions answered. If you have any more, then please feel free to write them down or send an email, and we'll get back to you with a reply as soon as possible. So that's the end of today's webinar. Thank you all so much for taking the time to listen to our presentation. If you have any interest in our digital interactive maps, just get in touch via email or give us a call. All our contact details are on our website, which is spotlio.com. I'd also like to remind you that all our recordings, all our webinars are recorded. So if you miss anything today, or if you want to share it with a colleague, or if you want to take another look at one part, then just go to the link which is on the screen now, which is spotlio.com/academy. We also put recordings of every webinar with subtitles in German and French. So for our non-native friends, if you find it easier to read the subtitles in your native languages, then please do so. For our next webinar, we'll be looking at how to boost your visitor's experience with the effective communication of live resort data. It'll be on the 16th of September at the same time. So if you can, please make it. We'd love to see you there. So until then, have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you again next month. Thank you all.